الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد نبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome all of you with your program Fatwa Life. This is in the middle of Ramadan that comes to you from Houston, Texas. The first question, this is from an imam here in Houston. I'll get the following question in English from one of the students in schools, and this is the explanation. We wanted to know what is the rule Islamically, because it has to the inheritance laws of Allah Azza wa Jal. And what do you do with financial situation during the severe illness? And what is the hiba when there is that severity of disease or death? My father, he is going through some really terminal diseases for the last 10 years. Heart, liver, kidneys, lungs. He always go to the hospital, we think that's it, but alhamdulillah, I always come out. Even though with his weakness, he's still very fully mentally good. But his psychologically is very tough, and we are afraid of him, loneliness in the beginning. In 2025, after he entered the hospital, in his will, saying that his wife get all his inheritance, not to worry, not to even look into the inheritance according to Quran, not even anything about the Islamic burial. When he was told about it, he said he's going to follow another will. We did that, but his wife, she disagreed, and she refused to let him sign it. Since then, the father, he took all his money to his wife directly in his life. The house, she made the only beneficiary in his financial accounts. He's just making sure nothing left in the inheritance. And it says like this is the gift in his life. And he offered $30,000 for any of his kids as a gift, and they all refused that. And the wife said, and she said that the inheritance is not fair, and she didn't want to apply the Quran. The problem, these actions, well, my father, he is about to die. And there is also stress from his wife, that his wife is threatening to leave him alone. The question is as follows. Can he transfer all his money to his wife during his illness, claiming this is a gift in his life? And you can tell that she is trying to play with the inheritance. And the actions during the illness of death, if there you go from the will to the gift. The third question, can you give all your money do you want to give like somebody and try to play with Allah's laws? Is the emotional pressure of leaving, deserting, during your desperate time of need help, can that have an effect? And if there is no goodness in any of these things, what is the rule in the case of death? Our concern, these are the laws of Allah, do not exceed them. So may Allah Welcome, my dear brothers, and good for your concern. And I treasure this concern to establish the rules of Allah. The inheritance, the Sharia is very stressed on that. And Allah made it detailed in His book. So you cannot play with it. The Shaykh reminded us that we're going to be in front of Allah soon. This calamity is one of the fiqh because there is about the gift in the life and the actions during death and how you inshallah Allah will allow me to answer these questions. What is the disease of death? This is where the death comes in and you cannot take care of your normal routine where he is connected to death. From the rules that the action of the patient or the person it will be just like the will. It cannot be more than 1/3 of the money. Unless the other inheritance they allowed it after death. After death. And there is no will for someone who's going to inherit. So these are going to be from the maximum 1/3 of the money. Because the hadith that Allah has given you a charity from 1/3 of your money. And you have no right to make more than that. So this is the detailed answer. Can you give, the first question, can you give all the money to the wife during that sickness? If it is a disease that is a time of action that transfer of the money, there is details. If it is a complete gift, she did not hold it. This will be acted like the will. Can it be more than 1/3? But if he's in good condition and he is in a terminal disease, the gift is correct. But the description that you said that going to the hospital into difficulties, that's always attack. So that's very close to the description of the disease of death. Because it is, then it will be the same rule of the will, which is maximum 1/3. And it cannot go to the wife without the, because she's part of the inheritance, unless, all the other inheritors accept after the death. They cannot do it before. He can do whatever he wants with his money if he gave some of his kids or his wife. But they have to be just with the kids. That if it is to deny Allah's rules, it's not allowed. The court, they go with what's obvious. They don't know with the intention. But when they go back to Allah Azza wa Jal, He will tell them what they have done. So you cannot manipulate. So if it is allowed sometimes in the court, you could tell that they are trying to stop the inheritance intentionally. And the rule of the judge could be different, depends on the verification of the judge. Now, the other question is the emotional, the, their, I mean, if you have good conscience, no force, but if there is one, you are taking advantage of the severity of his will. It needs a judge to look into it in the details and ask questions. Either way, I stress that the rules of inheritance, it is Allah's boundaries, and no one can play with it. The amazing thing that you go to your grave, so it is worst thing that it will be a curse that's gonna follow him in his grave. Why you wanna do that? Why you wanna bring more destruction to your life? There's no coming back. Um, the final question: my son, he did not forget. He he forgot the liquid. What we from our saliva, it will not mess your fasting. Is it allowed the move during the prayers? If you take one or two steps to let somebody pass by or to arrange, this minor movement is allowed, and there should be no problem, inshallah. So we come to the conclusion of this lecture that we started late, but inshallah we'll make up inshallah tomorrow.